Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am back with another video, and as you've seen in my last video, I was talking about the passing of Christopher Lee, and here is another video um, about another passing as well. Um, this one is about one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I got off work at about 2:30, and I was on my way to get something to eat, and I get on my phone, get on Facebook, and obviously Facebook. Anything you see nowadays, everything's on Facebook. But I seen the headline about the passing of Dusty Rhodes, and I was thinking, no, that can't be. There's just no way. And I read the article and everything, and he passed away today from his. He took a fall on the floor, got to the hospital. They said his kidneys were shutting down and he was dehydrated, and he passed away. And it really saddens me because we lost one of the we lost one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I'm not trying to be hypocrite to all the other wrestlers that passed away. I'm not. But when you talk about a guy that was charismatic, a guy who could talk, a guy who could work, a guy who could do everything that there is to do in the wrestling business, that was the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. A guy who didn't even have the look of a wrestler, pulled it off like none other. The man was a three-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And for a guy that doesn't even have the look to be the World Heavyweight Champion, if you look at guys before him, guys like Harley Race, guys like Ric Flair, guys like Sting, Lou Thesz, the Funks, the Briscoes, all of them world champions with the looks of wrestlers. Dusty Rhodes did not have the look of the wrestler, but he pulled it off like none other. Dusty Rhodes, a man who grew up the son of a plumber, and wined and dined on kings and queens, wined and dined with the kings and queens, and dined on pork and beans. My apologies on that. The man was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, still is. Even growing up, I've said this before, that when I was younger, when I was born, up until the mid to late 90s, I had never watched the WWE, ever. I had watched the NWA and WCW, and I know right around the time when I was born, Dusty Rhodes wasn't in the, well, the, he was, he, the year I was born, Dusty Rhodes was in the NWA, WCW era. But then, when I got older, he was in the WWE, but then he came back to NWA, WCW. And when I got older, I seen tapes and stuff, older stuff of the NWA and all that. And I just became a humongous fan of his. I became a humongous fan of his work. And I'm just deeply saddened by the Rhodes family, the Rhodes family, because his two sons, Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes, they looked up to their dad, and they got into this business because of their father, because of what he's done in this business, because of him being a wrestler, being a booker, being a promoter, being behind the scenes for the WWE, for WCW, for NWA, for Championship Wrestling for Florida, doing everything he can to make this business as best as it can be. And at the peak of the 80s, 90s, he did just that by trying to compete with Vince McMahon in the WWF. He did do that. He came up with some great ideas, not so great ideas, But one of the best ideas he ever had was the war games, double reigns, two cages. And obviously we see that now in WWE, which the pay-per-view just happened, which is the Elimination Chamber, their version of war games. And you know, I always strived that if I ever wanted to, you know, make it, make it in wrestling, like, you know, to the WWE or Japan or whatever, I want to strive to be like Dusty Rhodes. You know, to where it's not all about the look, it's about the know how to talk and know how to work and everything else that can get you over. Because that's what it takes to get you over, is having every bit of passion to be the best in this business. And on that note, I'd like to say thanks to everybody who's watched the videos and all that. Rate, comment, subscribe, and all that. And until next time, see you later.